What do you do when you graduate? Well, you're not going to get anywhere if you don't know anybody. Applying for a job by going to ZipRecruiter or Monster and just click, that's easy. Click, that's easy. Put you in one resume and thousands going in for that job. You got to get people to notice you. One thing you can do is, there are sites like LinkedIn, there are conferences like this, there's companies you can talk to. You want to get to know people. Don't be afraid, even now in high school. If you see a company that's doing something that seems to be kind of interesting, you read an article on it, and there's Medtronic has developed a new life-saving catheter or something like that. You can call the names on the article, contact that person, and say, look, I'm a student, I'd love to learn more about this. Could you have 15 minutes? I'd love to come in. And then you go, wow, of course. Now you're in for 15 minutes, it becomes a half an hour. They introduce you to the head of engineering, the CEO of the company, who knows, right? Now you have more contacts. Ask them for their business cards. And then maybe there's an internship opportunity. Before you know it, a couple years later, you're hired. Right? That's how it works. Connect, make contact, don't be afraid. The worst thing they could do is go, I'm sorry, I don't have time for you. Okay. I'll try again next year. I'll try it again in 2 weeks. I'll find somebody else there.
That's true.
So, and along those lines, there was a company I was interviewing for, an international consulting company several years ago, and I applied online, like you're supposed to. Absolutely will not consider you unless you apply online. Apply online. Within a week, I get an automatic rejection. Sorry, you're not good enough. Okay, I don't care. I called directly. Oh, wow, you got exactly the background we want. Okay, good. So I started interviewing with them. And then the process slows down. They start looking at other people. So what did I do? I applied again online. Why? Because I knew I'd be rejected. So now I had another reason to call HR. Hey, you said you really liked me. And I wanted to make sure my resume was fresh with you, so I made sure I submitted again. I got rejected. So is there a problem? Oh my God, no, that's right. I need you to come in and talk with me. All of a sudden I'm in the process. But the point of all that is you have to take the initiative. The world is not sitting there waiting for your resume to show up, right? The work like you're doing with this conference and other projects like this are going to be fantastic, because you are going to be able to go, they can say, oh, what did you do in high school? Well, I helped design a habitat for Mars. Well, that's pretty cool. Let's talk about that, right? Put you above other people in that you took the initiative to do something interesting. It doesn't have to be, I designed a habitat for Mars to do it. It could be just some neat project, but it's something that you took an initiative, you went ahead and you did something, you brought it to a point. And the more things like that you can talk about, the better. You want to get really good at the basic tools, Excel, SolidWorks, or PC board design, or whatever it is, some kind of tool. The fact that my company uses SolidWorks does not mean I wouldn't hire you if you're using AutoCAD. But you're really good at it, because they're not the same, but they're pretty darn close. I'm sure if you're smart enough to do this clever design with this, I can give you, in a week on your own, you'll figure out the ins and outs of SolidWorks. But, so the which package you use is not so important, but that you start thinking in terms of what does that tool give you to let you accomplish, and how do you put your idea into motion and become something. You have to be able to write a report. You have to be able to express yourself, both in writing and verbally. One of the things that you're going to be expected to do when you go and say for an interview is the 30-second elevator speech. Here's a resume. I got 2 pages or a page on you. This is great. This is wonderful. Tell me about yourself. And you got 30 seconds to convince them that you're not just a piece of paper, right? Be comfortable talking about it. On the job, you might have to sit in on a meeting where you have a customer coming in, and you're not just sitting there like this, and they ask you a question, you're going to be able to give an answer that's clear, concise, and do that. So be comfortable with that. I was never comfortable talking in front of a group. I became a teaching assistant in college And I got used to stepping in front of a group. And how did I get comfortable doing that? Was because at first it's like, well, there's 150 people or something. And instead I go, I'm going to talk to you for a minute or two. And then I'm going to talk to you. And then I'm going to go talk to you. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit. And I can talk one-on-one with someone fine. After a while, that one person becomes a group of people, and then after a while it's a whole group, and it's not so bad anymore. But you can do that. Some of the best entertainers in the world, and I'm messing you up because I keep moving around, and I'm going to keep doing that. So
Don't worry about it,
that's
do
great.
it. I can track it. I'm good.
Is, some of the best entertainers in the world are terrified of standing in front of groups. They really, many of them have been. But they know it's more important to them to get their ideas out and entertain and to express themselves and worry about that. So they say, okay, put that aside, I just have to do it. You can do it. You can do that. You want to get, this is really important, you need to get an A in yourself. What do I mean by that? Every course you take, you just go into a course and you go to, do you go to yourself and go, well, you know, if I try to get a B, I'm going to try to get a B. If I get a B, I'm okay. If I'm doing pretty well, maybe I'll get an A, right? If I don't do so well, I'll get a C, but okay, at least I passed. Guarantee you, most of the time you get a B or a C. When you take that course, you can say to yourself, I never took that course before. No one ever said I had to get a B. No one said, no, nothing's proven I can't get an A. I'm going to get an A. And you work for it. Assume you're going to get an A. Work for it to get an A. If you end up with a B or a C or you fail it, you can sit there and go, no regrets. I did everything I could. Right now, I just couldn't get that course. I couldn't figure that out. But you don't want to be 4 years later going, you know, if I only tried a little harder, I could have looked better. I could have been felt better about myself. Same thing applies to anything else you do. You're already showing that because you've chosen to do something that other people aren't. I don't see a whole lot of other people sitting here on a Saturday cold morning, right, doing something special. You're already working on that mind path, but just attack it every course you do. Everything, you're going to do that work for that on that job. I'm going to get an A. What's an A? Oh, okay. You go to your boss and go, when do you want that done? You go, I had one like this. It was a finite element analysis. There was going to be a whole program that had to be written. Back in the days, you had to write your own programs for this thing. And this guy gave me this list, literally, of equations he had written out, and he said, I want you to write an application to apply this to this kind of problem. And I went, and we have a whole new computer system no one's used before. You got to figure it out too. Okay. How long do you need? When do you expect to have this done? You go, maybe 5 weeks. All right. I sat down. I loved that stuff. Sucked it up. Worked on it. Figured it out. Came back a week later. Handed him his output. And he goes, "Oh, that's a nice start. Great. So, how long do you think it'll get done? I'm done. Here's all your output you asked for. Here's the backup data. Here's the, all set for the next round." Ah, well, here's the other stuff I wanted to do. And he really opened up a drawer and he pulled out a stack. Oh my God, we can do this. Here you go, right? Well, you want to overachieve in that sense. Because you set a standard for yourself. I can do this. You can accomplish it, But you should never sit back and regret that, I really I could have gotten that promotion, I could have gotten that pay increase, or I could have kept my job if I had put a little extra in, right? And if I lose a job and I've been trying my hardest, well, didn't work, didn't fit, that's all. I can't regret that. I can't blame myself for it, I could learn from it and do better, but I'm not going to sit here and panic over it. So why are you doing all that? Why even bother? 60% of all students entering engineering colleges graduate. Flip it over, 40% don't. Why don't they? 40% don't because they start the first year and they realize, this isn't for me. Oh, I thought it was, but it's not. There's nothing wrong with that. My younger boy loved math and science. he did a first year at WPI, and he insisted that's where he wanted to go, and it was it. And he got into it, and he came to us about 2/3 of the way through the year and went, I don't like this. Love the math, don't like this. And he switched into accounting, and now he eventually became CFO of Table Talk Pie in Worcester, and then he worked his way up through a couple companies, GE Healthcare, and now he is COO of St. Gobain in Worcester, and helping to run a couple businesses, right? Nothing wrong with that. But he realized it wasn't for him. That's fine. The other reason is people are doing it because they were...
Like 5 minutes?
5 minutes? Okay. See, this is what happens. Turn me on and just go on. So they realize that it's just either it doesn't fit or it's not the right school. It may not be the right school for you, too. But you have to work it. So what do you got to do? Don't do engineering for the pay. It's good. It's not that good. Do it because you want to make a difference. Your family, for other people. Sometimes I'm working on this project because I know it'll keep the 200 other people in our assembly area with jobs. That's not a problem. Do it because you're supporting your family. Your career path will be all over the place. That's the way life is. That's okay. But bear in mind that the thing you're interested in now may not exist 20 years from now. Certainly new things will. Things I'm doing today, never imagined I'd be doing today. Didn't even know I could do them. If someone told me I'd be doing them, I'd say, you're crazy. Because I'm not a medical device person. That didn't stop me from stepping into it. So there's nothing straight about your path. Mine's all over the place. You can download all this, by the way, from the website. But I did work in holography at WPI. I did mechanical design. I did rubber coatings for like 17 years. Worked on artificial heart. Consulted down in med device. It's like, where did all that come from? And it's a matter of looking for opportunities. The key point for me is, like I said, get an A in your life. The Army said it'd be the best that you can be. And it's true. I mean, you don't want to sit back 40 years later with regrets. Do what you can. You don't have to be perfect at everything, but do your best. Have a sense of ethics. I will not design something that is unsafe for a patient, even though you say you don't care because it's a third world country. I'm not going to talk to you about that, right? And frankly, very few people even would talk about that. But you got to hold to those ethics. What's important to you? You got to have that to carry you through consistently through your life and your career. Have a plan. What I mean a plan is, someone sits down and they go, okay, so what do you want to do in 5 years? I don't know. I just started working here, But for me, it was, hey, when I was a teenager, I said, when I'm 50, I'm going to be able to step out of my house and feel like I've taken care of my family, have a decent little place to live, that they're happy, that we've paid the bills, that we feel good about where we are. What does it take to get to that point? Part of it's your career, part of it's your family life, part of it's your own personal interests, and what you like to do in this out. You are not your job. If I were my job, I wouldn't be here. I'd be doing something else. You are, however, your capabilities, the things you've learned. Can you solve problems? Are you really good at people skills? Are you really good at innovation of new ideas? That's you. You can transport that to any job and change careers around it. And that's what you have to believe, because someday you're going to lose your job. For whatever reason, company will close, new management, you get fired, you get laid off, whatever. And you got to rethink, where's your path? What are you going to do? I want to make a promise to you that any point from today, the next 20 years, if you would like me to look at your resume, talk to you about your path, to, hey, I got challenges at work, how would you deal with that? Contact me. Here's my email address, I'm on LinkedIn. Say, hey, I heard we met at NIPNOC, let me know, that's great, I'll be there for you. This is in the website, you can download it, no secrets, you can memorize it. But it's there. So I'll be there, let me know. Very few people take advantage of it, costs you nothing to try. All right? So, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Al. Any questions?
What questions do you have? Before I ask you one myself. What do you want to do in 20 years? Yeah. What do you want in your life 20 years from now? When you're 50, let's say, pick that number. How do you picture yourself living? Doesn't mean it can't change.
I picture myself being economically independent
Economically independent, good.
and emotionally fulfilled.
And emotionally
Fulfilled.
fulfilled. That's a good start. So now you start thinking, what would it take for me to be emotionally fulfilled and economically independent? What kind of, do I save money now so I don't have to worry about it later? Maybe invest it right now. Start saving for my retirement now. What kind of things turn me on? So I want to start studying that and get involved in those things. Maybe my dream job becomes a hobby. For me, I love the space program. I want to do that, and it died almost shortly after the moon landing, and I use that as my hobby. Astronomy, photography, things like that. But so think about that, and am I, every step of the way, am I at least heading in that direction? Yeah, but keep doing it, and you'll be successful. Yeah.
Is it better to keep your hobby as a hobby or keep it as your job?
Well, that's a good question. So should you keep a hobby as a hobby or do it as your job? Well, if you do your hobby because you just love it, it's fun doing it, don't lose it as a hobby. If you're doing it, you want to do it as a job, you have to realize that job will come with it work, pain, dedication, things like that. Be willing to make sure that as you work on it as your work, you haven't lost the joy of the hobby gave you. That's the thing. And you can combine the two, that's great. But at the end of the day, even if I were working for NASA, I'd probably still be into doing my own astronomy on the side, because that's the fun part, too. So you got to watch out for that. But make sure you never do it as a job and find all the joy you have dies, because it's in the wrong place. All right, I'll be around.